Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. This is Paranormal Frequencies, and my camera is froze, so I'm not MK Ultra'd right now. I guarantee you that. How are you guys doing tonight? We have Sherry here.
Hey, y'all.
And we have Sherry's brother here, Beau. How's it going, Beau?
Good, you?
Oh, doing great, man, except for my camera being frozen, but that's okay. I will just show you guys for now and fix my camera when we get into some of this material. I did want to cover a few things before we get started with what we have. One being, let me share my screen so you guys aren't in the complete dark here. Okay. All right, so I wanted to share this image because I want to thank Jean for sending this to me because this is awesome. This lady, this mom is shocked when her security camera appears to show the ghost of her late son. She said she felt like he was letting me know he is happy and in heaven. Now, a mother who lost her son 2 years ago due to an accidental overdose believes his apparition appeared on her security camera to let her know he was happy. And this is from Jennifer Hodge of Atlanta, Georgia. And she got her and her daughter were watching television when she received an alert from her Nest camera, which is triggered by movement and noise, that a person was spotted in the entryway last week. And you can see with the camera here, this area right here shows a person standing there, and nobody was really standing there, and it appears to be the ghost of her son. Let me scroll down. I do have this link. It is amazing, isn't it? And it looks like them too. I mean, when you look at a comparison of the images, I do have this link below, so you guys can, if you want to look further into it. This one is enhanced. Look at it. It looks like he's in a robe like Jesus or something. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
That's amazing. Now, being that we were going to cover some EVPs tonight, along with ghosts and stuff like that, and, you know, we've got this story with this lady who lost her son, I also wanted to bring up Erik's documentary. I have a link to this below as well. But let me play for you for a moment. I want to play this EVP that was captured of her son when he was being channeled. And you can listen to the full thing, but here I'm going to play this for you right now.
That the heart is really kind of the architect and the thought pattern maybe that gets created from that emotional feeling is really the executioner, like meaning it goes out and does it.
Yeah, he calls it the minions.
We'll prank them. Have you seen me? Things of that nature.
Eric?
He said he's pushing on you. He's pushing on you.
Now, wow. That's amazing because the thing is, let me quit sharing my screen and go back to you guys. The thing is, you can actually hear the person channeling Erik say, he said minions, and you can hear Erik say minions right before that. And then the other part, you can hear him whispering, I'm pushing on her, and she says, I'm pushing on you. So that's amazing, and I think it just goes to show how cool it is when they channel things and kind of how they hear things. Let me get to this first video, and then I'll try to fix my camera here. Let's see. I want to play the audio first. This is going to be the audio. I'll let you actually set this up a little bit, Beau. I'm going to play the audio that you recorded. It was actually a longer audio, and I was able to shorten it down and clean it up. And I'll have you kind of set the stage for what we're going to be listening to here. And you can kind of give the backstory of the guy who had passed away or whatever. I think it'd be helpful.
Yeah, what it was is I ended up hiring on at the refinery. And back in the day, they used to have kind of a change house
Mm-hmm.
that all the workers would show up, go into. And apparently, once this guy went into the actual pump room, going on his way to the change house, he'd open the door while everything was sealed up. They had a malfunction, I think, on one of the pumps, and was hit with a bunch of H2S gas.
Mm.
He made it one, maybe two steps before he was done.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably dead before he hit the ground.
Yeah,
And,
wasn't it like he had like over 10 times the lethal amount within just a few seconds
yeah.
or something? That's
and
wild.
a lot of the guys, I mean, I've talked to from maintenance to operators to everybody else that has seen this guy, like walking through the pump house, heading up, and you'll see him come through the pump house and then kind of disappear into where they bricked up the wall of the pump room that
Mm-hmm.
used to go to the change house. And you'll see him just kind of come through and go up and disappear into the wall.
That's wild.
And I thought, well, yeah, okay, we'll wait until we see it. And then, like I said, I've been in there overhauling pumps and everything else, and it's dark, looks like a dungeon. Lighting is not the best, and so usually anywhere else in the plant, we've got our sunglasses, the safety glasses tinted. But if you're going to be spending the whole day in there, usually we went to more of a clear, or mine still have kind of a gold tint to them, but it gives you a lot more light.
Mm-hmm.
I've been down overhauling a pump and actually watched a guy in the reflection of the glass walk up and stand behind me.
Oh, wow.
I thought, well, it's got to be
And
one
you're
of the
there
guys.
alone.
Yeah, one of the guys working with me, but he's going to hang on a minute. Finished doing what I was doing while I turned around, and mind you, this thing's probably 300-400 feet long. Just one big room. And
Wow.
so turned around to see what they needed or what they were waiting on, and there's nobody in there with you. I was like, okay, that's kind of odd.
That's when the hair on your neck stands up, right?
Right. Absolutely. And then, of course, letting some of the other co-workers I work with who, yeah, definitely I wouldn't put it past them to try and pull something over on you. Let them know, yeah, hey, yeah, I was in there, this is what happened. All of them are kind of like, well, yeah, kind of riding the fence. And ended up going back in after lunch and was up now working on another valve. So I'm standing up. There, of course, Wyoming, we've got a little wind. But nothing, I mean, all the doors are shut, and distinctly felt something run up and kind of grab a hold of my pant leg and pulling down. I mean, it was like 3 tugs. And I jumped, and I was sure it was one of the guys I worked with just screwing around. So turned around, kind of kicked, and kind of cussed him. And then found out again that, yeah, I'm in the pump house by myself.
Oh, man.
I mean, there's no way they could run 180 feet to get to a door to get out of that pump house.
Right. Without you seeing them or seeing them hightail it out of there or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just an odd spot.
So then you had the idea to maybe record the sound at some point?
Yeah. And that's kind of what I did. I thought, ended up at a moment that, yeah, I knew I was going to be in there for a while, and I thought, well, we'll see what happens. And yeah, I came into the pump house, and it's like, all right, I'm going to get this set, and I'm going to let the recorder go. So if there's somebody in here that, wants to say something or anything else, the recorder's going.
Mm-hmm.
Left my radio in the truck, and there wasn't a soul, a radio, anything else in the pump house with me. And that's where we ended up getting this recording from.
Now I'll have everybody know this recording was originally, I want to say, was it like 17, 20 minutes or something?
17 minutes.
17? Okay, so you got this recording. There's machines running or whatever, so it's really noisy, but you could definitely hear there's some like conversations and stuff going on. I'm like, he was in there by himself, and
Right.
And I'm like, there's clearly voices here. So luckily in Audacity, you can grab some of the sound you don't want where there's no talking or whatever and say, hey, try to remove this throughout the whole recording. So that's what I did.
Right.
I got a noise profile when I wasn't hearing any kind of EVPs or anything. Told it to remove that from the whole thing. And then I chopped it down so we don't have to sit here for 17 minutes because there was a lot of times in between where nothing was going on. So what I'm going to play for everyone is, and I'll put the transcripts of what we think maybe it was saying on the screen while I play this. But it is amazing. I'll give you that, man, because I was like, wow, this is, and you could actually make out certain things. And some of the stuff sounded familiar to you, did it not? Like the numbers used?
Yes.
Or, okay, so I'll play this and then we will come back to
581 crude.
I want to say something really fast is that to know that my father worked in rescue and like EMS rescue, and he was head of safety at this refinery, and so he would have gotten called out to things like this. And we'll explain later how we feel like we got a very comforting message from my father that he was maybe trying to assist this guy. All right.
Okay, so let me get to.
Because at first you'll hear someone hollering for help. That's the first thing you'll hear.
Okay, I'm going to put the transcripts up on the screen. Now keep in mind these time stamps next to here do not apply because I cut all the space out in between, because you can see it went up to like 17 minutes or something like that. But let me find the audio and start it here. Let's see. And that is that. Let me come back to you guys here. So yeah, it sounds like it's hard to make some of it out, but you know, when you listen to it with headphones on, you can definitely hear there's something going on there, some kind of speech, and it's really intelligent. It's an intelligent conversation. At one point, you can hear the door slam. Right. Like somebody shows up or something, and then you can hear like, you know, like somebody just came in and they're like greeting the other person. How you doing? Good. How are you? And there's like a conversation going on and nobody's there, you know?
Right.
One thing that I want to point out is I feel like that first intuitively, I felt like it was my father, because you hear this man saying, help, I need help. And I feel like maybe I don't want to say that he's trapped, but maybe he's like reliving the event or whatever. And then whenever like the help comes, you can hear where it says like, go ahead, base, you're the one calling, go ahead. And it says, no, sir, that was someone else. And I feel like my dad was trying to say, I'm not the one calling for help. That was someone else. You know, like I got all of this out of this, you know. Mm-hmm. I actually when you go through it, and then when he started mentioning fire hydrants, you know, I knew that was my dad. My dad was just, he was on the fire department for years, and back there, the fire department here, they're about to dedicate in his name. The town grew, and they made a new one, and they're going to be naming it after him. So, you know, he was just always a fireman, and they talk about it. Go ahead, Beau.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it grew up. Dad actually got a couple of the fire hydrants from the refinery that were old, out of date. They pulled. He turned them into light posts for the walkway going to the house.
Oh wow, that's cool.
The only house that had 3 fire hydrants in the yard.
So yeah, when I was deciphering this, and I knew it was some type of pump house or something, I didn't realize it was a refinery. So I'm thinking, oh, it must be some kind of water pump house. So I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, oh, I guess this is some kind of pumping station for water. Then when I find out it's a refinery, so they're pumping oil or crude or whatever, and I'm like, oh, wait, so what are they talking about water and all this? And then I realized that your father was a fireman. I'm like, oh, this is all coming together and making sense now.
Right.
Very, very trippy stuff, though. That is really neat, though. Let me see the next thing we had on the list here.
Yeah, and we have tons of stories about my dad, which maybe we can get into later if we have time, or even another time. But he's very communicative.
I do want to say also that Sandy Bangs is in here, your mom. So if you guys want to say hi to her, I know she's been dealing with some stuff, so we're sending our loving prayers to her through this time in her life right now. But she's doing good as it is. But we just wanted to say hello and we love you.
Mom, we love you, and we're so glad that we came together on this night when, you know, I'm sure you can love seeing me and Beau's shining faces together.
Yeah, love you, Mom.
Awesome. Yeah, you're actually on TV. Hi, Mom. Okay, so I'm going to pull up a picture of your dad here. This is looks like he's speaking at an event or something, maybe.
He always the head of safety, and he was always teaching, like, what is it, Beau, OSHA or something?
Yep, OSHA.
Let me share the screen so you guys aren't so in the dark. Let me pull this back up now. Okay. So here we go. This is your dad here.
Yeah, I want the audience to take note of the top black frame glasses there that he always wore. Yeah.
And there's your dad and your mom together.
There you are, Mom. You threw that in.
Okay, now we covered this before, but this was definitely worth revisiting again. And so let me. I need to shoot. I didn't have it full screen on that one. Let me go back because I didn't realize I wasn't able to see my screen. But this is a full screen, so people can get a better view of your dad and his glasses.
The story behind this is my mom was just sitting in the back. There was no smoke or anything going on. She saw a mist in the room, and just because of my weirdness, she was like, I'm going to take a picture of it. She took one shot, and this is what she got. And
now this is where your dad normally sat, right?
Well, yeah, but we got also, my dad had 2 basset hounds that, you know, one passed away and then he got another one, and he was all about these basset hounds. So I'm going to,
okay, let's zoom in. And
at first I thought my dad's face was peeking through the shelf on the bookshelf. And then Darby, my daughter, was like, no, Mom, he's sitting in the chair holding the dog. And I mean, and then I saw it right away.
Okay,
and
so now you see all of this mist in here, and it's even over the blanket. And then up here, there's the head. Now, this is your dad's head, and you can actually make out his glasses right here.
The top, yep.
The top of the glasses. It's very faint.
That next flower coming down, you know, it's kind of his chest area. It's kind of foggy right there.
Yep.
And as you go down to the left, you can see the snout of the dog.
Right here.
The right eye.
Yeah.
And his hand, we think, is maybe laying over petting the dog's head. And you can see the tail looping around in the hind leg toward the bottom of the chair.
Yeah, the tail and then the hind leg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This almost looks like a perfect 8 right here on the leg. Yeah,
now he did die on August 8th, which is interesting to note. I don't know if that's what had to do with, which that we could even get into the tattoos now if you want, because my dad, he probably would win the award for in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most grandchildren to get an after-death tattoo right after he died. And I think I've got like 5 of them.
Yeah, let me see what's
I
next
was
on
collecting them today. I don't know if you have that handy. We can always show it later. There he is.
Okay, yep, there's your dad on the fire truck there. And then we're going to feature some of the tattoos that you said. How many grandkids got it?
5 that I know of. There you go. 8814 Darby. There's Taylor's daddy's name and his birth date and death date. There's my beautiful niece Mariah with her little fire for the love sign. It has a little fire.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
She's so pretty. There's Devon's.
Oh, that's cool. It's got the cool flag with
now
the
that's
fireman axe.
It looked a little better later.
Yeah, this is the tattoo artist doing it, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's Cade's. And Cade has carried on, he's a firefighter by trade now. That was his dream, and that's what he's doing. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's beautiful. Some beautiful kids. They all love their grandpa.
Okay, I wanted to go back. Okay, so we passed this up. You called in. You can share this story, Sherry, because you called in.
Okay, I used to help book guests on this little podcast thing, and I had called in because we'd had a paranormal experience happen with my brother who passed away, which I won't even really get into. But what happened was when I called into the show, and they said, we have our first caller of the evening, and I knew I'd get something from my dad right then. I just felt it. So I'd set the phone up in there to record in the living room. And then I went in the back for the call because of the delay and all. And it was recording, and that green strip, I've never had that happen when I record something. But also, you can hear right when he says, we have a caller, you hear my dad, and he used to do this silly voice, and he goes, hello. And then an orb flies by right then on the camera. So, if Beau can't hear that, he can hear it later right on the replay.
Exactly, yeah. So let me pull this up really fast here. Let me get this full screen for our viewers. Okay, it's not going to be full screen for you guys, but it is for... I got to get it in the frame for the viewers. Okay, here we go. Now this is going to play it. Then I got it where I put the text on the screen so you'll know what to listen for, you guys. Okay.
I believe we have our first caller of the evening right now, Daniel. Let's bring him on. Caller, what's up?
Hey, it's Avery.
Oh, what's up?
See the orb flying by there? Right. A couple of times with the EVP. Okay, now what I actually did here was I pulled up, because that sound isn't very loud, you guys, what I ended up doing was...
Caller, what's up?
A better version of it.
Caller.
Okay, so that's hello. Let me play it.
Caller, what's up? Caller.
Yeah, you can hear him. It's doing a funny voice. Hello. Okay, so yeah, that was much louder than the actual video, so glad I got that going. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so do you want to set up the backstory about the wreck? And let's see what I got here.
Sure.
Kind of a bad memory, but
I guess you don't have to tell a lot about it. We're really going to go into these images because you've captured a lot of these over the years, and really what we want to focus on is that. So you don't have to revisit the bad memories if you don't want to. Okay, so we got. But this was a wreck that you were in, correct? And then somebody took the pictures.
Correct. This was on actually the wreck from. No, it's been a couple months ago. It was back in July.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually thrown from the truck and ended up waking up in a ditch later on. Made it back to the truck, because we still sat in that spot for about 6.5 hours
Mm-hmm.
before the ambulance crew or fire rescue could get to us.
Mm-hmm.
And the first ones on scene were the ambulance crew, which they were notified that there was somebody ejected from the truck, and that's who they figured they were picking up. They didn't think that I'd made it back into the truck.
Wow, and that was quite a wreck. I mean, it looks like the whole wheel came off and everything even.
Oh, yeah. Both front wheels came clear off. It ripped all the front suspension out from under it. Actually broke the rear axle in half.
Wow.
And ripped one of the tires off of it. I mean,
lucky to be alive, needless to say,
yeah,
right?
it was a substantial impact. And like I said, then they show up and it's like, why are we calling? Because, of course, yeah, running with the sheriff's department and fire rescue and everything up here, I pretty well know all the EMTs and paramedics and everybody on the fire crew.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why are we showing up here and now having to call out fire rescue to cut somebody out of the truck?
Right.
If you ejected. It's like, well, you took too long.
Right.
I went back into the truck. And so one of my buddies that was on fire rescue is the one that ended up taking these pictures. And he was just snapping photos.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really notice anything, but thought, hey, he's going to take the pictures anyhow. Send to me. Well, then started going through them. And later on, I got a call, and he's like, dude, I got some photos of when we showed up on the scene to get you out of the truck and get you taken care of. And you need to see them.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, all right, then, yeah, send them. So he sent me this whole triage. And that was the first thing I thought was, looking at the lights.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done crime scene photos and everything else with strobe lights from any vehicle you could think of. And none of them streaked like that.
Yeah, and I want to point out, because
that's kind of weird.
Yeah, one of the first things I thought is, well, maybe the camera moved. But if you look really close at these images, you can see, like, this guardrail is perfectly in focus, not smeared one bit. The vehicle,
right.
All of this is perfectly, you can tell the camera wasn't moving and causing this sort of streak here.
That's the one photo that, as I was just kind of flipping through them, it's like, okay, kind of know what's going on, but still the lights are a little weird. I'm not sure why it come across like that on the camera. And then I hit that one.
Yeah, this one's amazing because you can clearly see.
Like, wait a minute. What the heck is that?
Yeah, it looks like some kind of angelic figure here. You can see the wings, the legs, the torso.
It's your guardian angel that was looking out for you that night. His legs and his wings.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is really amazing.
Yeah. Which, whoever the guardian angel is probably going to quit here in about a week. That poor thing's been through a lot.
Okay, so this was one where we could picture an angel in it. The other ones, or this one here, just some really weird light anomalies. You can't really make out what it is. What's this really bright? It's almost like they caught just the edge of something right above there, man.
Right. And actually, a lot of the times, if you take those photos and blow them up and start looking like really close through some of the streaks, you'll start seeing other faces, and it's
aliens.
Yeah.
It almost seemed UFO-y. There was such a, intuitively it seemed, I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like almost like the edge of a light ship right above the whole scene.
Right.
Doesn't it? That's wild.
Right.
And there's no reason for that to be there.
No.
That's amazing, guys.
And there's another one that looks like it has like 3 angelic entities above the vehicle.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the next one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm getting ahead.
That's okay. Yeah, but here we got some more of these strange light anomalies. That's really weird. What is this in the road down here? Is that something in the road or?
Oh, that's a worker, huh? I mean, a cop.
Oh, is it?
Right.
I can't make sense of it. Okay.
Stuff
let me see.
The front corner of the pickup. Is that what you're talking about, Shane?
Well, just this area right down here. It looks like something's in the
Right.
road. Is that somebody standing there?
No, it's actually one of the road signs.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Back side of it, you can see the post and the back of that aluminum,
Oh, okay.
the sign.
To me, it looks like a policeman.
But
Now, was it a orange construction sign?
Well, it's got a head and a cell phone. I just have a good imagination.
Pareidolia at work here. Okay, here it is. Here's the one you were talking about.
Yeah, I like this one too.
Let me go in on this before we get really big. Now, this is the 3 angelic beings you were talking about.
Right.
Sherry?
Yes. And I couldn't really see them as much as I could feel them. And one even looks like it has a halo, the one on the left.
Right. Yeah, I'm blessed. I don't have just one guardian angel. I've got a tribe of them. It takes that minute to look after me.
Some people need more than others.
I need all the help I can get. As a parent.
Well, wow, yeah, because that truck is really tore up, man.
Oh, yeah, it shredded it.
Now, this is really weird, because look at how the spillage of the blue color just...
Yeah.
And once again, it looks like the camera might have moved, but you can see, like, you know, if you look at the other part but look how crisp the hood is there. It's not.
Yeah.
This is,
the hood's clear. The firefighter's legs are clear.
yeah.
Even on the hillside.
Yeah. All of this is
It's
clearly
all
not.
in focus.
Yeah. But all of
So
this streaking
not
across
the
is.
camera moving.
Yeah. That's so wild.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty crazy. And like I said, as he sent those to me, and then it was like, okay, yeah, pictures of a wreck. Seen many of those before.
And this isn't normal. It's not like he had a
Right.
bad camera for taking these pictures. This is the camera he takes them with, huh? That's wild. Okay.
And then, like I said, once I hit the one that had the angel and you could make out the legs
Yeah.
or whatever the being is, then it got me going back through all the other pictures and looking at it and
Seeing there was more there than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Oh yes, definitely.
That's really something that in each of them, the angelic figures are right above the vehicle. I mean, they're located right above on this one and the other one with the 3.
Well, as all those pictures were taken, I was still in the truck. That was, I mean, even the one where you were calling a question to what was over like the passenger side corner of the truck.
Yeah, you're in it here too then.
Right.
So
Yeah, you
they're
can
all
see
over
the
here helping you
backboard
out.
they've laid up.
Oh yeah, that they're about to put you on right here.
Right.
Right.
That was my ride out of there.
Oh wow. So did you get as far as injuries?
I sustained. I had a total of like 27 staples in my head from where I hit the A pillar. I came out apparently the driver's door that's open now. I ended up broke 3 ribs, punctured a lung, and broke 7 vertebrae in my back.
Yikes. But lucky to be alive, needless to say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That one probably should have killed me.
What's amazing is that you're able to actually call for help. You know what I mean? I'm like, then you.
Well, and right where that accident was, you don't have. I mean, we've been out there on numerous calls with the sheriff's office. We've been out with search and rescue, a fire rescue, and you don't have service of any kind out in that hole. It's down in a canyon. It's a dead spot.
Oh, wow. So just getting
And,
reception to call for help was
right.
a miracle in and of itself, huh?
Right.
That's
And
amazing.
something just happened to line up and able to get a call out. And like I said, it was still, we were down there for 6.5 hours before anybody even showed up.
Oh, wow. Yikes.
So
So he's still with us.
Yeah. Counting your lucky stars, as they say.
absolutely. Every day.
Well, we have an EVP that we think we might have captured your dad on, but we can save that for a little bit later if you want. If you want to go into some other stories, Sherry. That.
Well, I wanted to start by saying that we grew up in a house that had a lot of activity in it, and what I'm so fortunate that I guess I was just so caught up in my own life at the time that I didn't notice, but like I'd come home from school, I'd hear my mom upstairs and, you know, cleaning or whatever, and time would go on, and then like she'd walk in the door and I'd say, well, where were you? And she was like, well, I was having coffee with so and so. And it never dawned on me to think, well, then why was I hearing her upstairs? I was just like, oh, okay. But Beau, he always noticed everything, you know, and he had a lot of neat, interesting things happen even after I moved out. So I wanted to let him tell some stories because I really was like, I kind of missed a lot of them, you know, like, and they didn't tell me to because I'd kind of get scared a little bit. I'm not known for my bravery.
No, she's not.
She's getting there.
Slowly.
So I don't know what you want to start with, Beau. Maybe the those snow prints that night in the house or something. That's
yeah. There was one night that I'd come down with it was like the flu, just nasty cold. I'd been sicker than the dog probably 3 days. Well, finally starting to feel better. Had gotten up, motoring around, and growing up, my big thing was models. You know, doing the model cars and painting them, everything else. And so Mom had went into town and bought me a model. Brought it home, and I'd been kind of dinking on it, moping through the house, getting up off and on for, you know, a cup of coffee. And finally Mom comes in and it's like, you know, hey, me and Dad are going to take off, go spend some time together. If you're okay with that. You know, we'll lock up. We're not going far, but I was like, no, you guys are good. I'll be fine. And so they ended up leaving. Mom had told me that, yeah, she's locking the front door as she left. I'd gotten a cup of coffee, went in, started working on the models, and life was grand. Finally had to take a break, and you're out of coffee. It's like, crap. I'll go get me another cup of coffee, walk around a little bit from sitting and gluing parts together, and started out of the bedroom, headed down the hall, got almost to the foot of the stairs, and I heard the front door open. Somebody walked in, and you could kind of hear them going through cupboards. I mean, drawers and cabinets opening and closing. And it's like, well, all right, so I hollered for Mom. Well, everything just stopped. I thought, well, you know, if it was Dad, he would have hollered back, you know, with some smart-ass comment. You know, it's not your mom, it's your dad.
Right.
And, okay, hadn't heard anything, so I thought, well, I'll holler for Dad. And you heard this, whatever it was, slam the cabinet. Didn't say anything, but started walking towards the living room. And so I thought, well, screw that. It didn't answer me. I know it heard me. So now I'm taking off upstairs. Made it upstairs. Ended up, couldn't remember the number to where Mom and Dad were. So I called 911. And they ended up dispatching the actual chief of police and one other guy out to the house. Well, what I didn't know is that it had really, really started snowing right after Mom and Dad had left. So it covered everything in probably 8-10 inches of snow. And finally I'm upstairs on the phone, and dispatchers is like, yeah, the chief of police is there, and he's at your front door, but he can't get in. It's like, well, whatever the hell this thing is came through the front door, it should be unlocked. So I had to go down and open the door for him. Went down, met up with him, and he's looking around. Well, I'm in a pair of shorts and barefoot. And it was kind of like, okay, well, wait a minute. You haven't been outside. I was like, well, no. I said, look at me, Charlie. Because, of course, knew him. He's like, yeah, but look. And from the front door up through the kitchen, up along all the cabinets, you could make out boot prints where it had tracked in snow.
Oh, wow.
And it made it all the way through the house and then went out the back door of the house.
But the back door was locked or no?
Yeah. Both doors were locked.
Did you ever hear the doors?
Yeah. Like I said, as I come out, I heard the front door open. Somebody come in and start going through cabinets. I'm thinking, what are they doing? And so I hollered for Mom, and then nothing. Everything just stopped. So I thought, well, okay, then I'll holler for Dad. And that's when you heard the cupboard door slam, and it started walking without saying anything in towards like the living room.
And that's when you were heading back upstairs to call the cops or whatever. And did you hear it go out the back door?
And yeah, so me and Charlie ended up, we went through, I mean, everything, crawl spaces, attics, closets.
Were there any footprints outside? Did you notice?
Not a one.
Wow.
Not a one.
That's amazing.
And so, yeah, later on after talking with Mom, I guess they'd end up going down, having a drink at like the corner bar. And so her and Dad were in there having a drink, and the chief of police come in uniform to the bar. Sat down, and of course Dad was like, it must be a rough night, huh, Charlie? Charlie's like, well, you could say that. He's, well, you know, you mind if I ask what happened? Well, yeah, and he told him the story. He's like, yeah, we got a call that had a house broke into. Kid was still home. Ended up calling 911, and he said, there's proof somebody's been in the house. He said, there's prints on the inside of the house. He said, but where it came from, where it went to, there's not. He said, I don't know. Dad's like, well, really? Finally, Mom's like, well, do you mind if we ask whose it was? Oh, it was yours. Mom's like, excuse me? He's like, no, I checked with Beau. He said, we went through the whole house. There's nothing there now. And he said he was fine. And didn't want me to bring you up to you or have you go home to him. And so, yeah, of course, they upright and bolted home.
Right.
And, yeah, there was still melted snow where something had tracked in, but there weren't any tracks outside the house.
Crazy.
And
what kind of conclusion did you come to with it? That it just had to be some kind of ghost because it would have had tracks outside, right?
Right.
And there's no way they could have left the house and not left tracks on the ground outside.
Charlie's like, yeah, we showed up. There wasn't a print one in the snow. He said, I'm thinking that this is, you know, kid home alone, got spooked, and freaked. He said until I opened the door and he walked in, and there's boot prints of snow being tracked in, and it was definitely too big to be mine. And where'd the tracks come from? You'd had to walk through the snow to the house to track it in, and there's not.
That's a weird one, man.
Well, we had so many things happen there because, you know, I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but they have these things that you hang up on the ceiling, and it's got like 3 tiers, like, and you put like, well, we always had potatoes in it, and it's got like
basket.
3,
Vegetable basket.
Whatever it is.
You put your
and
onion,
like
your
the
potato.
thing would like swing all the time by itself. But Bo, tell about that time when mom woke you up.
Oh yes,
You're in a dead sleep.
It was way late. Dad was, I think, at one of the fire schools, and so it was just me and Mom. And I came in, and it's like I'm done. I'm tired. I'm just going to bed. Mom's like, yeah, okay. She's up watching TV. I went in, didn't get undressed, didn't get under the covers, just walked in and fell on my bed. And I was out. Next thing I know, I could feel somebody, trying to wake me up. He had a hold of my leg and kind of hollering, Bo, 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 Bo. And I was like, if I just ignore them, they'll go away. And, well, I was wrong. And so finally rolled over, because as I was trying to ignore them, it just kept getting worse. Finally rolled over, looked, well, it's Mom. I was like, what are you doing? She's like, you got to get up. I was like, why do I have to get up? Oh, my potatoes are swinging. I'm thinking, yeah, okay. Your potatoes are swinging. Just go to bed. I'm not dealing with it. She's like, no, that basket that we put the onions and the potatoes and everything in, it's swinging. And I was sure she was messing with me. It's like, yep, he's tired and been out running, and so yeah, now we're gonna mess with him. And so I come out of the bedroom, head to the kitchen. We had a little bar cut out so you could see from like the living room into the kitchen. And I'm thinking, okay, they're rocking a little bit. Maybe she bumped them, got them swinging, and then went and got me. And no, these things are, I mean, it's on like one of those little J hooks screwed into the ceiling, and that basket is swinging with a good probably 5-6 pounds of potatoes in it. And it's going like ceiling to ceiling.
What?
It's not slowing. I'm thinking, oh dear Lord.
It's almost like somebody's sitting there pushing
Right.
it, huh? Like,
right,
keeping it going.
And so yeah, walked in, finally headed into the kitchen, got up, felt around it. We didn't really have any windows that had opened on that edge of the kitchen.
That would be a lot of wind to push something like that.
I'm thinking, she's got a string. There's got to be an accomplice. I'm still trying to think of how she's rigged this up, and I'm not coming up with anything. And they aren't slowing down. I mean, they haven't budged. It's like something's keeping them swinging.
Now, she was able to she observed them swinging. She came all the way up. It took a second to wake you up.
Right.
You go down and look at it, and it's still swinging. So it's been swinging for at least a good minute or two, right?
It's probably went on 5-10 minutes by now. And even while I'm there, kind of feeling around, seeing how she's got, a string, or how she is able to mess with me right now, couldn't come up with it. And they hadn't slowed up. So finally it was like, okay, I'm going to just reach up and I'm going to stop it.
And so, go back to bed.
Right. I stalled it, and it was like, okay, they're still backed out of the kitchen. They still haven't moved. Checked, around the basket and everything before I left. Finally made it back to the edge of the kitchen. Well, you got to take like 3 steps to the right, 1 step back through the doorway, and you can take another 4 steps and be back to that bar to look into the kitchen. And made it clear across the kitchen. Finally, rapidly moved through that other doorway, made it back to that bar, and they're swinging ceiling to ceiling again.
Oh my God.
And it's like, okay, Mom's not messing with me, and she's truly upset about it. I can't find a string or any way that she's able to mess with me.
He's so investigative, and I'm just like, it's paranormal.
I would have been the same way. I would have had a hula hoop around it, like trying to figure out if.
Right. I got to figure out why.
Right.
And there was nothing. It's like, all right, I'm out. I don't know. Finally looked at Mom. It's like, well, are they hurting anything? She's like, well, no, but they're freaking me out. I was like, well, then screw it. Let them swing. Because we're going to be at this all night. I'm going to go in and stop them, make it out of the kitchen. They're going to start swinging again. And I'm going to be up all night, and I'm just tired. I'm going to go to bed. She's like, really? How can you sleep with that going like that? That's like easy. God. Watch.
Oh, yeah. We had all kinds of stuff happen, though, because, like, my sister that would come and stay in the summer, she used to feel something sit on her bed all the time. You know, she would feel something sit on the bed. And I had that happen to me, like, twice, you know.
Well,
and
I did have that same thing happen once.
And then there was something when Beau was little. Go ahead.
Sit on the bed, but again, I was down and sick and in bed, running a fever, and I remember I woke up and it's like, God, I need a drink of water, but I can't get out of bed. And you kind of rolled around. It's like, you gotta have some water. Kind of went back to sleep. And then woke up, and there's a glass of water sitting on the nightstand. So grabbed it, drank it, and it's like, it had to have been Mom.
Oh, we had stuff like that happen all the time.
Yeah, Mom's on top of crap. She's known. I mean, she's been there. And so drank it, ended up going back to bed. Finally, it was like the next morning, come out and got to talking with Mom. I was like, yeah, I don't know how you knew that I needed a glass of water, but I am so glad you brought it in. Mom's like, I didn't bring you a glass of water. I was like,
yeah.
Wait a minute. I mean, and yeah, growing up, yeah, we had a lot that happened in that house.
And I know, like, remember that time that something woke you up and your fish tank had busted?
Right. And honestly, I finally got to the point, it was probably starting into high school, that, yeah, I knew there was something there in the house, but it wasn't malevolent. It's not evil. It's almost there to help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what was the history in the house? Was there anybody that you'd heard of that had passed away in the home or anything like that?
No.
I actually think it was our brother who passed away when he was 4, because we've still had a lot of interaction with him, which, you know, I'm sure eventually we'll get to on one show, because I just have so much stuff with him, you know. Mm-hmm. And that's I think he's always looked out for us and been around. You know?
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go to bed and, kid you not, wake up with somebody knocking at my bedroom door. And if you tried ignoring it, it'd get worse. Until you got up, and then it's like, okay, after about 3-4 times of it, you figure out that something was left on, a door was unlocked, there's something not right. And so as it woke you up, you just get up and go through the house and check everything.
Right.
And you'd find something that, oh yeah, that would have been a mess. Get it taken care of, and then you can go back to bed. But if you tried to ignore it, then it would start getting louder, and I guess
Try to get your attention.
Yeah,
Right.
your mom's saying it was so scary talking about the previous story. But yeah, that's
But there was so many times like you'd be sick, you'd be home alone or something, and then you'd wake up and like there'd be like this big Afghan on you, but there was no one home to like cover you up with it or put the extra blanket or just little things like that all the time.
Well, and I will tell you another story. As me and my hopefully soon to be ex, not soon enough, had gotten married, we'd bought the house for Mom and Dad. And so we'd moved into it, and of course, she'd heard a lot of the stories and wasn't quite the believer. She's kind of a skeptic. I was like, yeah, well, whatever. You know, I've grown up here, know how it is, so whatever. Went up, and we're laying in bed, and it was actually in Mom and Dad's old room. Laying there in bed, and you know, as you turn off all the lights in the house, and I'm sure everybody's done it, there's a door like not quite wide open. It's just kind of cracked, and you'll hit it in the dark. So you walk through the doorway, and you end up catching just the door handle like somebody ran into it.
mm-hmm.
And we're laying there in bed, and hear something hit the door handle. Felt her kind of startled, and I was like, what? You didn't hear that? I said, yeah. I said, something hit the door handle. She's like, what the hell was it? Oh, she's, never mind. Must have been one of the cats. I was like, well, it had to have been Oscar. She's like, no, it couldn't have been Oscar. It had to have been the other one. She said, because I'm holding Oscar. I said, well, then we're screwed because I'm holding the other one.
Yeah. I know one time I had lost my hairbrush, and I was hearing a noise, and I followed the noise in my room, and my hairbrush was laying like against the wall to where the part of the bristles were like on the carpet and the other part was on the wall. It was like laying like flat against the wall like that. And it was still, but when I thought back to the sound, if you took the hairbrush and like, it's in the wall and the carpet and you just like went like this, that was exactly what I had been hearing until it caught my attention, which took a minute. And then I like followed it to where it was at. And then I was like, oh, there it is. And for some reason with me, it never really dawned on me that it was something. I was just like, oh, there it is. But now when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, because we just were used to it.
Yeah. And she kind of startled, and then it's like, well, aren't you going to get up and see what's there? I was like, no, I know what's there.
And I can't tell you how many times I sleep on the couch and I know someone walked by, and there was like, it just, the way things were set up or where everybody was at or gone or whatever, there was just no one there, but you just knew someone had went by.
Well, Beau, was your soon-to-be ex, was she a believer after that?
Yes, more and more so. The longer we lived there, the more she saw and ran across. It was like, you're right. There's got to be something to it. But I've also been in the same predicament. I mean, I guess me and one of the gals I ran around back in high school had a younger sister that the parents would send out with her kind of as the informant, just kind of keep tabs as she was going through high school. Well, she ended up working at the sheriff's office on my crew. And so we're working nights, which are midnight to 8. And dead, nothing happening. And we got to talking, and she's like, well, brought up, supernatural or haunted places. And she's like, oh, have you ever been out to the haunted cabin? I was like, well, it depends. I said, 'cause, you're definitely a younger generation than what I grew up. It may be the same place, just different name. And so she started telling me where this place was at, telling me a lot of the backstories on it. And yeah, it's definitely haunted. Everybody sees and hears things. And so I thought, well, perfect. We'll get off, because we were just getting ready to swap from nights onto eves. So we'd be getting off at midnight. As soon as we swap and go over to eves, I said, when I get off in the morning, I'm going to go out, find this place, log it into a GPS so we can find it in the dark. And then once we hit evening shift, we'll all go out there. And one of the other guys I work with, he's like, well, can I go out with you? I was like, well, yeah, what the heck? We'll go out and, check the place out in daylight, see how everything's laid out and what's what. And finally found this place. Well, mind you, I'm thinking haunted cabin. 1, 2 rooms, a little log building. And we found this place, and kid you not, it is so big, it's got a yard in the middle of the house. Got like a 2-car garage, shop, everything built into the house. The place is huge. And ended up going in through the front door. All the beds are there. Silverware's there. There's still canned goods on the shelves. All the plates, car keys. I mean, it's just weird. And it's like, all right, this is odd. I mean, you can tell it's been there for a while and hadn't been disturbed. The dust, and of course mice have been into everything, but it's all there. And so we make our lap going room to room through everything on the downstairs. Finally come back to the main kind of sitting room just as you come into the front of the house, and there's this old kind of rickety staircase that goes up to the second floor. And honestly, they aren't looking in the best of shape. The guy that is with me is probably 320 pounds. And so it's like, okay, told Dave, and I'd made mention a couple times as we were heading through the downstairs of the house. It's like, I'm telling you, I said, there's going to be some like pygmy hermit that jumps out of the closet and is pissed off that we're in his house. I said, but all right, I've done the downstairs. You do the upstairs. I said, you go ahead and take lead. I'll follow you. And my thought was, he's 3 times the guy I am. If he can get up the stairs and not fall through, I know I'm going to be okay.
Right.
And so we send him as the guinea pig, and he's heading up the stairs. Well, there's no walls or anything on the staircase. Of course, most of the ceilings kind of rotted and fallen out, and so it's just basically the floor joist for the second floor, and then the old wood beams. And I heading up the stairs, and I get just up about head high, and you hear this boom. And I watched dust fall through the floor joists. So kind of turned and started watching it, and whatever this thing was took off running.
Mm-hmm.
You could make out the footsteps as it's running towards the top of the stairs. And yeah, I'm thinking, okay, yep, it's haunted. Watched the guy in front of me because he heard it too, and he of course reached back, grabbed a hold of his duty pistol, started drawing it, moved over to the side of the staircase, and then he like froze. I mean, just stopped. I'm thinking, well, you'd probably better shoot, do something. I mean, figure it out. And nothing. Finally, just his head turned. I mean, his eyes are the size of dinner plates. And he's like, dude, he said, that is the biggest bird I've ever seen in my life. I was like, bird. No, dude. I said it ran. It didn't fly. It ran. That's not a bird. He's like, no. He said, it's a bird. Okay, yep. Calling BS. And so I finally started up the stairs, got up just to where I could see over the floor, and clearing the back of the house, because they've had like a fire on the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
So you got some of the studs and everything else, but nothing else is left on the upstairs. Except for clear at the other end of the house, there's an old clawfoot tub. And perched on that clawfoot tub is the biggest owl I have ever seen in my life. I bet he stood 4.5 foot tall. And he's just checking it out. It's like, huh, you're right. I said, that's a big bird. I said, and you missed your chance. He's like, what are you talking, missed my chance? I said, honestly, from where I was when I heard that thing jump off of whatever it was on and take off running across the floor, you could have told me that a Sasquatch just ran out the front door. I said, I would have probably bought in. I said, but when you told me it was a bird, after I watched it run, it didn't add up. I said, so, yeah, then listening to all the stories, or had already heard them, and it's like, okay, most of it they come out here at night. About half the stories, yes, they've been drinking. You go into an old house, especially with an owl, they're going to see perfect at night. And so they're going to start moving around, doing things, flying through, running across stuff. And you're going to swear it's haunted because the chances of you seeing him are slim to none.
Right.
And it's like, yep, we found the ghost.
So you think it was the owl for sure?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because that gets into what Sherry and I had talked about, because there was a guest on, what show was that, Sherry? Where the guy talks about a lot of people will see owls whenever there's actually alien activity going on, and the Greys can like sort of, they don't really shapeshift into owls, but they make you see an owl because it's less scary. But it's real similar with the big eyes and the stuff to the whole
Right.
gray alien thing. So, you know, that kind of makes me wonder about that. And you can look up alien owl, and you can there's so many so many stories about this. So
It's
you know,
Mike
I'm not convinced.
McClelland. Mike
Right.
McClelland. He
Yeah.
has a whole book on it, and I just love him because he's really interested in my Michael Jackson stuff. So that's cool. And he's the owl alien guy.
Yeah.
And potentially so. I mean, it's like I said, we went out looking, you know, something haunted, something evil or whatever out to get you, and then ran across this owl.
Mm-hmm. Mike
And-
McClellan is the name, right?
Yeah.
In case anybody wants to look that up. Yeah.
Okay. I will definitely have to check that out.
Yeah,
Good.
because you know, one person brought it. I think he started looking into it, and then he found all these different people that would see these owls, and then you know they started putting two and two together, and it started
Right.
working out where it was just, I guess, a similar, you know, because you're not going to freak out as much with an owl as you are if it's an actual gray alien or an alien type entity, you know what I mean? Than something
Yes.
that you're like, oh, an owl. But the thing is, they can be huge. There's been people that's seen 4-foot owls in the middle of the road, you know?
Right.
And it's bizarre. So this thing, how big would you say this owl was when you saw it?
This one was a good solid, probably 4.5 feet.
Look, I
Wow.
saw a rabbit that
Yeah.
big one, so I believe him.
Bet it was a good 70 to probably 90 pounds. I mean, big owl.
Wow.
And then, of course, we went back, of course, told the stories. Yet we found the ghost. She's like, oh, so it is haunted. It's like, no, it was an owl. Oh, well. And then other people wanted to go out. It's like, okay, so yeah, we'll take them. Went out there and broad daylight. And you'll hear run into the same thing. And they start freaking out, and it's like, dude, it's an owl. It's like, nope, that's not an owl. I was like, I'm telling you, I've already been there. I've done it. Go up to the top of the stairs. And we've ended up, there was actually a male and a female owl. And then there was probably 10, 12 little owls. Because we showed up once, actually found the mom and the dad, and then all the little ones were under the bathtub, kind of looking out and checking things out. And it's like, all right, we're not going to go up and disturb the upstairs. Because, there's apparently a whole family of them.
And they've been there for a while, evidently, huh?
Oh, yeah. Which, and of course, with everything, out and laying around this old homestead, you won't find a mouse, a rattlesnake, nothing. I thought, well, with that many owls around,
I guess not.
You're right. They're eating well.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure what time it is or how much time we have, because we may have to do it another time. But you're gonna have to tell eventually the story about the hollow, because that's crazy. I saw that with my own eyeballs. There's like eyes. I saw eyes out there. Like if you did like this, like they look like this, but you gotta like turn them around like this, and it was like squatted down like a. Like if you squat down and put your hands on the floor and your feet out, it looked like how a demon would be, and it would like jump like from side to side in the woods. I saw this with my own eyeballs, and when Beau took me out to Hollow, and the eyes were green.
Green eyes? Oh my God!
Yeah, I know you guys. I know you're not gonna believe me. I swear to God, I saw this with my own eyes.
Well, if you guys got time, we can do it, and then we'll do that last EVP. But I definitely want to hear that story if you got time. We're at about an hour and 12. We're at about an hour and 12 minutes of.
Well, Beau knows the whole history with like the shaman and all that. So you want to tell it, Beau?
All right. I guess the short version of it is, we were all out. I guess a bunch of us back in high school were hanging out, ended up, got into the beer.
Oh, no, we never got into the beer.
We're going to everybody got to pick like 2 movies that were the scariest movies they've ever seen. And so we had a stack of these things. And we started watching at like 11 o'clock that afternoon. Finally, about 12 o'clock, I was like, I'm done. I just got to go to bed. Next morning, Mom comes in, wakes me up, and is like, hey, Tana's on the phone, and she wants to talk. I was like, nope, not getting up. She's like, no, it sounds important. So I get Tana on the phone, and you couldn't hardly understand her. Finally got her to slow down, and it's like, oh yeah, after you left, we ended up going up into the forest somewhere, and it's haunted. Honestly, you're an idiot. We just watched all these horror flicks, and then you're out in the middle of the night, go out into the forest. Of course you're going to see things.
Yeah, creeped yourself out. Yeah.
You already psyched yourself out. They said, hook, line, and sinker. And she swore, nope, there's something out there. So I talked to Rich, one of the other guys that went out, and it's like, yeah, you got to take me out there. And so that next weekend, there was probably 10, 12 of us in pickups decided we're going to go out to this place. Get out, finally hit the dirt road, and Rich is like, well, all right, go ahead and, run in the front. Well, we all had CBs in our trucks, so we could talk that way. I was like, well, why am I in the front? I don't know where we're going. I wasn't out here the last weekend, remember? He's like, oh, you'll know. And so every grove of trees we pulled into, get on the CB and call Rich. It's like, all right, Rich, is this it? He's like, I don't know, is it? It's like, you're killing me. I was like, well, then I'll just keep driving. And finally hit this one grove of trees. I mean, and as soon as you drive into it, all you want to do is hurry up and get to the other side. And it was all I could do to keep from, laying on the gas just to go. And I thought, well, because, if I hit the gas, speed up, do anything out of the norm, he's going to know that there's something here that might kind of irk me and he might be able to play on it. So again, got on the radio. It's like, Rich, is this it? Well, I don't know. Is it? It's like, well, then fine, whatever. I'll just keep driving. You tell me when to stop. Made it out of that place and finally hollered on the radio. It's like, no, dude, just come back up here. It's like, what are you doing? Well, just come back up here. So pulled back up. We all got out of the truck and he's like, are you serious? I was like, what? You didn't feel it when you went through there? I was like, feel what? He's like, no. He said, that was the place. He said, I don't know why you didn't pick up on, you just got to leave. And, of course, wasn't going to lead on to him because that kind of gives him an edge.
Right.
And so, we kind of hung out there for a while, and this thing is truly impressive. I mean, I went out a lot out to the hollow, and we've had it show up, and I mean, it kind of comes in almost like a black fog, and then you'll see the fog kind of shrink up and then take, the shape of like a man.
Oh, wow.
And it'll kind of stop, and then you can tell it turns its head, and then you can see just these green eyes. And done a ton of research after, seeing it a time or two, trying to figure out what in the heck could be just out in the middle of nowhere. And what I found, and anything you read on it, it doesn't give a description of it. But there is an Indian burial ground that is out and around same area that has a spring that starts and stops within itself in the same grove of trees. And this place does. I mean, any of the descriptors it gives, it's got out there. And so, if you go back through, I guess, Indian legends or their beliefs, they've got what they call a watcher. That they send this spirit out to kind of watch, the burial grounds and kind of look over things.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a protector of their land.
Right.
And this thing fits to a T. I mean, if it's just me that goes out there, it'll still show up and I can still see it. But it's really reserved. It's like it's just kind of hanging out to watch. And I'm sure it also knows that I'm not out there, to dig up the graves or desecrate anything or do any kind of damage.
Right.
And so it's more content to just hang back. But if you bring a big group of people out there, and like I said, I'm not for sure as to everybody that's in the group, if they ran across something, what they might or might not do. And I think it's probably got a better idea than I do. Then it kind of comes uncorked. I mean, we've had trucks pushed off the road. I mean, it's insane what this thing can do.
Did you go to the shaman part yet?
Not yet.
Bathroom. Okay.
But, and I guess here recently, I mean, even honestly, I think there was a big connection between like my wreck and like the hollow and everything kind of combined.
Was it in that similar area?
No, totally different.
Oh, okay.
But I guess out growing up, and little brief history up here, Cherokee Indians were not common with Wyoming. They were a lot further out. But I did find a Cherokee medicine wheel
Mm-hmm.
out in where we were at. Growing up, I mean, it's probably been 20 years ago.
Medicine wheel. Is that those things on the ground where they set the rocks
Right.
up? And okay.
Right. And to see a Cherokee medicine wheel up here is really, really uncommon. And it was like, okay, apparently that's there for a reason. And we let it be.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of left, and everything's been grand since. And the night of my wreck, and it took me a while to finally start putting the pieces back together
Mm-hmm.
after the accident. But, I mean, got out of the hospital, made it back up here, ended up with a friend, and we all went out. There was probably 6 of us, went back out to the wreck. And really didn't have anything come back. And it was probably 3-4 months later, I was working out at the refinery doing turnaround and had some free time, and there was just something that told me to go back out there. And so just me went back out and parked and just walking through and, you know, seeing different pieces, and it's like, okay, yep, that was off my truck. That was out of my truck. And trying to put back exactly what had happened. Finally got most of it to come back. Because, yeah, we'd stopped off out in kind of the same hills off to the side.
So you're talking about from your wreck, like parts of the truck and parts of the contents that were in it just kind of got flung everywhere, and you were finding some stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Right, okay.
Right. And just trying to piece everything back together as to exactly how everything went down, because, yeah, it'd been a blur.
Mm-hmm.
And then it finally dawned on me that, no, I'd been out and doing some shooting out kind of in the sand hills and everything, kind of where this medicine wheel was. And I saw something. And I kid you not, it almost looked like a really, really kind of lengthy, fairly tall, got to be over about 6 foot, almost like a naked guy up in the hills. Had finished shooting and still had the lights and all the other KCs and everything on, and saw kind of something moving, and it was like, what the heck? And then it stood up and started walking out, and it's just this, I mean, it's almost like his arms and his legs are really exaggerated.
But skin tone, right?
Right. And started walking off, and it was like, what the hell? Said, you know, shit, jump back in the truck, you know, somebody's naked out here running around. We'd probably better go see what the heck. Something's went south. And I'll bet I chased them probably 2 miles out and across, out through all these rocks. And you always see them just right at like the next ridge, which there's not a human around that could make that kind of distance. I mean, because you'd show up and there's a whole valley, and you'd catch them just in the headlights heading over the next ridge. And not really entirely sure what it was or what it was doing. Finally, it's like, yeah, it just got this bad feeling. We'll just leave it.
Yeah.
And that's when I headed back into town, and ended up having that wreck. And I remembered seeing, like, I'm not sure, deer, but saw something come up and over kind of the guardrail. I kind of swerved, go out and around it. So swerved to the right. As I went to come back to the left, the pitman arm on the steering linkage had just sheared. So you lost, it's like the steering wheel just spun. And so now, without hitting the brake, anything else, you're heading head on into a cliff. And so, yeah, we smacked it probably full bore. And I remember the truck rolling once, kind of come around, we'll have the seatbelt on, so you kind of pull your arms up, kind of protecting your face and your head. And I remember as it started over the second time, you heard like this ping and saw a flash like silver. And you get kind of this weightless feeling. And I don't know if something in the truck had bounced around, ended up hitting, or the seatbelt failed, but it came loose. And that's when I remember seeing the A-pillar coming up and thinking, oh, yep, this is going to hurt. And I hit it, and next thing I know, I woke up out in a ditch.
Wow, that's crazy. So, man, it almost sounds like a Sasquatch story or an alien story,
right.
Like a Sasquatch without any hair, like a Bigfoot without hair or something, because of the long arms, you know?
Right.
A skinwalker.
Skinwalker.
Skinwalkers. I forgot it. Yeah, that's always a funny term. Skinwalkers.
But
He was naked.
A naked skinwalker.
Right. Sherry's been out to the hollow. And atypically, I mean, growing up, all the stories, all my experiences, this thing kind of stays in that same grove of trees. Just that one valley.
Yeah.
Now, you can't get within 10 miles of that valley. And stuff will start changing, things will start happening. They've actually fenced everything off at like 10 miles out from this valley. Wow. And as soon as you get over that fence now, it's just weird. You'll start seeing things. It will show up. You'll catch these shadows or this fog or this being out and around. The roads, the terrain, things you know aren't out there because I've been out there 50 million times. Just show up. There'll be mountains or streams or a pond or something that you know is not there.
So that reminds me of actually, because you're mentioning all of these things, it's reminding me of someone I had on Gosha who was talking about weaknesses in the holographic projection on the planet, and that there's places where they don't want to use as much resources because there's not people there, and so you get these weird bleed throughs of other dimensions that aren't normally visible or something. But that sounds exactly what you're talking about. You're seeing stuff that shouldn't be there, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
You'd think the government would be all over it. Maybe they checked it out and said, we don't know, just throw a fence up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Keep people out of there. Jeez. So we don't have to go rescue anybody. Throw a fence up.
Yeah.
And look, my other brother is watching too, Mark, and we might just have to get him on here one day with Beau and to talk about, you know, that hotel, the Parco, the one we'd break into and play hide and seek in and all that, and all the things that happen there, because that's like a story in itself. We could even get pictures of it, Beau. And even the jail in Rollins, you could get pictures of that. And
well, where does the shaman fit into this? Did you ask a shaman what's going on there? Or?
Oh no, I think the naked guy is the shaman.
Oh, okay.
Right, Beau?
That one, like I said, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I just know, like I said, with the hollow, out with the medicine wheel, everything else, it seems like everything's kind of building.
Yeah.
Here lately,
Like an unfinished story.
It's not staying where it was normally contained.
It's like you know that you're not in Kansas anymore when you're out in that area. That's the main thing, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. Keep looking for Togo.
Awesome. Well, let me play this EVP and we'll wrap this up. Let's see.
Absolutely.
Here. Now this one here is from. Okay, Sherry, you had recorded. Okay, you had an ashtray story. Tell the ashtray story, and then I'll play the EVP.
Yes.
Okay, so me and my mom, we like sit and visit at the same little table or whatever, you know, and we were smoking. And you know, I mean, it's not unusual to get up and, you know, straighten up a little bit and empty the ashtray or whatever, but I didn't do that. And I went back and sat down and the ashtray was gone. I'm like, Mom, where's the ashtray? And she's like, well, did you try to empty it or, you know, or leave it over there or whatever? I looked, we both looked everywhere, all over the kitchen, everywhere. It was just gone. And so I'm like, you know, I was about to go get another one. I turn around and things sitting back on the table where it originally was. And so me and my paranormalness, I like turned on the voice recorder on my phone and I just, you know, asked, is someone trying to tell us to quit smoking? And then listen back.
And this is what we captured. Okay, so what I did was there's 3 versions of it. There's the original, and then increasingly with the 3 different versions, I try to clean it up and pull some of the sound out and amplify the part that's not Sherry's voice. So I will play this now.
So loud.
You guys won't hear it, but here we go.
Is someone trying to tell us to quit smoking? Is someone trying to tell us to quit smoking? Is someone trying to tell us to quit smoking?
Okay, so you hear, or we hear, it sounds like me, and then you got it, correct?
Yeah, it's almost like I heard a male voice say, me. Of course, I'm asking who, and I don't get a name, I get me. And then
I got it. Okay.
It was like I intuitively could feel that the next one was someone telling the person that said me that they got it recorded, because it goes like, you hear me, and then you hear, you got it, like that.
Yeah, it's like almost like a female voice saying, whispering, you got it. Okay, I'm going to play that last version of it again here.
Is someone trying to tell us to quit smoking?
Yeah, I can hear it. Let me play that last section one more time.
Quit smoking?
Very weird. So that's very cool. There's definitely something there that wasn't there. Now, you didn't hear it with your ears. You just played back the...
No, just on there. But I do want to say that, you know, we got some neat stuff coming in and everything, and anybody that has stories and orbs or pictures or just anything that they want to share, whatever, to keep sending it to us, and because it's so fun to talk about it and share your story with everybody and show them. And I know, like Dustin the Wind, and then what was that girl's name with that cool blue orb?
Oh yeah, Jean.
Yeah.
She was the one that actually turned me onto that story that I showed in the beginning with the lady who captured her son on a security camera. So yeah. I want to thank her for that once again, and we should have her on, I think, the 11th. And while we're talking about parents who lost their mothers who lost their son, we also I wanted to let everybody know that Angela Gabrielle is going to be back on the afternoon of the 11th. So we will be on the night of the 11th, but she will be on with us that afternoon. I had to sort of match up with her schedule. So she's going to be on sharing some of the information that she's gotten with her son Christopher again. So I'm really excited to have her back. I know people ask about her all the time, wanting an update. So if you want to hear it, mark your calendars for the 11th. And then I believe Gene will be on, the one we were just talking about with the blue orb, the night of the 11th with us. So really excited about all that. I want to thank you, too, for coming on with me. Thank you, Beau. It was great meeting you, and it was great hearing these stories.
Love you, brother.
Love you, too.
And hi, Mom. Hope you get better. And say hello to everybody in the chat. Lots of love to you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Peace.
Yep.
Love all y'all.
See ya.
Bye. Love you both.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.